Hey, hey, magicals! And welcome to our first energy update for 2024. Okay, so I know it's a bit late in the month. I've needed to take a little bit of extra time to really bounce back after all that healing last year and trying to recalibrate, and that my body really did break a lot, like not even just a little bit, like a lot. So I have been taking the last couple of weeks to take care of myself physically. As you can see, I'm currently identifying as a circle again. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, so just getting back into routines, getting back into habits, taking my supplements and all that, just trying to get myself back on track. Okay. I've needed the time, and I'm going to say that I'm unapologetically grateful that I had that time. It was really needed. Okay, so I hope that your January has been going well. Um, I do want to. There's quite a bit to talk about today. Kelso and I had a little like tete-a-tete, and we just kind of had a discussion around a few things that we want to bring up. What I do want to say to you is there are some big energies at play this year. Remember, I have been speaking for the last couple of years about how, not for the last couple of years, what a crock of shit. I told you that last year and this year were going to be big years for our setup year for next year. Because why? Next year, we all go into a collective 1 year. Okay, so that's the new 9 year cycle. We're ending out the cycle this year, so be prepared for endings this year, guys. Change is always uncomfortable. If we're going to resist the change, it's going to be a whole lot more uncomfortable, is all I can say to you. Okay, so this year, there are a couple of key themes that I want to speak about. One of the most important things that happened on the 11th of January was that the North Node moved from Aries into Pisces. North Node is destiny stuff, like it's big stuff, okay? For those of you who don't know what the nodes are, they're not actual stars or planets or anything. It's actually a mathematical point in the sky. And basically, obviously, it shifts as, everything else shifts, right? Um, I say mathematics. I think it's called a mathematical point in the sky. It's like some kind of calculation, right? But North Node does actually shift along with all the different the different first word sounds like houses and planets and star signs. Right, let's try that again. Good Lord. You can see I'm unexperienced now. I've been away from this for so long. Okay, so really, truly, seriously, North Node destiny. Okay, what our path is, what our destiny is, what are we here for, right? What are we meant to be doing? At the same time, the South Node then has moved into Virgo, and our South Node is our karma. Okay, so the good news is with Pisces, it's that dreamy, deep, imaginative, free kind of energy, romanticizing everything. There is big potential, though, to actually achieve what you want to achieve. If you dream big and you think out the box and you put it into action, you will achieve what you want to achieve. So that it does play in our favor. The Pisces, it's the North Node is in Pisces for 18 months. Okay. So just bear that in mind. We've got a year and a half. The North Node in Aries ended very quickly. I kind of felt the start of it and the end of it come very quickly. So there we are. We'll be in 18 months, we'll be saying, oh my God, it's the end of Pisces North Node. Okay, so that's the North Node side of it. The Virgo does help balance things out with practicality and routine and that kind of energy. They really do like systems. Virgos love systems. Okay, so that does bring it to a grounded level. You are going to have to watch your grounding in this energy because Piscean energy is that very kind of a ooh ha la 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 kind of energy. So when it comes to actually doing what you need to do to achieve your dreams in this energy around your destiny and what you feel is your path, you're going to actually have to take action and be grounded as well. Okay, so it's not all just about daydreaming. As great as daydreaming is, and as much as that helps your manifestations, you've still got to put the actual physical stuff into it. Okay, so this is important, right? Um, it is a mutable sign, right? They are mutable signs, both of them, as well as Sagittarius and Gemini are mutable signs. And what this means is that they are, in terms of this energy that's got going on now with the North Node and Pisces, it's very much about keeping what is working for you, but seriously letting go of what doesn't. That's Virgo. Virgo for you will get rid of shit easily. He cleans out the cupboards, needs to place order, make sure that things are running smoothly. Okay, so it's very important that you are paying attention to the things that are working for you and those that are not. Okay, I'd listened to a reader earlier, was it other day or yesterday or something, and they were basically saying it was a really good analogy, right? If you're in a boat and you're surrounded by great white sharks and you have to dump some stuff, otherwise the boat is going to sink. What are you dumping? What is non-essential for you anymore? What is not serving you anymore? Okay, imperative that we clear out the energy for this. Okay, remember, next year, big year, one cycle, fabulous energy. Okay, so we need to do that. We also need to be very discerning about where we place our energy, about how we strategize, even just with people. I'm going to talk to you a bit about that in the actual energy update in terms of what the subjects that Kelso wants to bring to your attention. But this is also very important with this. Make sure that you are very discerning where you place your energy. Don't just be giving it around free willy. Okay, everybody says that, I've said this to you a million times, that time is our most valuable asset. That's BS. Our energy is our most valuable asset. It doesn't matter how much time you have. If you do not have the energy you need to do what you need to do, time can be there indefinitely and it's not going to make any difference. Okay, so majorly discerning about it. One of the things we also do have to look at, and we will talk about this now more, is radical acceptance and surrender. Okay, remember, surrendering is not it's not quitting, it's not giving up. Surrendering is just accepting everything for what it is and having faith that it'll all work out the way it's meant to. Okay, that is I'm sorry, I've got a little mickey flying around here. That's exactly what the surrender element of this is, and it's going to be a very important theme for this year. Very, very important. Not a year to be swimming upstream, people. We are not salmon. Okay. I've said this to you a couple of times over the last year or two, this year particularly, when it comes to letting things go and releasing resistance, it's going to be imperative this year to make space for what's coming for next year. Right. As much as we must dream big, right? This is a big element of it. We need to dream big and we need to be putting out these big plans and things like that, but we also need to be realistic. Okay, you have to be able to do the work on a human level in order to achieve what you want to achieve. So there has to be an element of realism, which Virgo and South Node will help you with. Okay, you just have to tap into that energy. Okay, so let's talk about kind of what we've come out with. I had many lessons last year coming out of those healings. Gosh, and after the healings, I know I didn't do an energy update after a bit, but I actually just didn't have the energy. I had nothing left to give by the end of the year. And inevitably what happened was a whole lot of truth came out around my biological, I don't say mother, but I don't really believe that she's fitting of that term. A lot of truth came out around her, and that truth not only showed me exactly how far I had come with my healing, but also turned my whole world upside down a couple of times. So, what I'm going to say to you is, I'm going to say to you that one of the big things that I think we need to pay attention to this year, because I don't believe that I learn things for no reason. I learn them for me, but I also learn them for you guys so that I can come to you and say this is where we need to be at. We look at what people's actions are as opposed to what their words are. Okay, that is a big thing for this year. If people are not showing up, and it comes up again, we'll talk about it just now. We'll talk about the loyalty aspect of it. What I want to say is, if people are not, if they're making empty promises and they're not showing up for you, again, that great white shark around the boat kind of energy, is it something you want to keep in your boat? Are they somebody you want to keep in your boat? The getting rid of is not just about releasing stuff. It's not about the physical stuff. It's about the emotional and the mental stuff and the physical stuff that we need to use. And it's going to be a big year for that this year. Okay. So heads up on the first thing, you need to start taking a good look at how people are acting around you and not what they are saying. Okay, that is huge. That is absolutely huge for this year. We also look at 2025 in a very powerful way for, especially for the divine feminine energy. Now, if the guys watching, please, you've watched me long enough to know that we are both divine feminine and divine masculine within us, and that if as a male you have not tuned into your divine feminine, or they're not balanced, or if you're a female that plays heavily into her divine masculine and you need to balance your divine feminine, this is the year. Okay, so this is a massive year for us to tap into the divine feminine energy. We are being called. I've had meditations with this. Kelso and I've had conversations with this. In February, I'm starting an online empowerment group for women around this, about us tuning into the energy of Gaia, okay, the earth energy of Gaia, and actually going into those spaces, activating connections with divine feminine energies that are relevant to certain spaces and times, right? Every month will be a different theme. But the point is, it's not about selling that product. What I'm trying to say to you is, this year, you are needing to engage with the different elements of the divine feminine, however that presents to you. So this is not a religious thing. If you are Christian and you are anti-gods and goddesses and all that, that's fine. But the reality is, when you look at the divine feminine aspect of things, the goddesses are simply just names that we use as a label. So, for example, when we look at dealing with Hecate, for example, she's one of my favorite goddesses. She's one of my triple three, one of the triple goddesses I work with all the time. That's about the in-between spaces. She guides, all right? Part of her story is that she guided through the underworld, okay? She guided someone through the underworld. Here's the thing. She's about moving us through the in-between spaces. There are a lot of people at the moment who are sitting between who they were and who they are meant to be. I'm one of them, okay? I've got a lot of friends in this job that we do that are in exactly the same space. So I'm 100% sure that there are a lot of divine feminines out there who are going, I'm feeling it too. I've done the healings, I've done the work, and now I'm stuck in the space in between, right? So what I want to say to you with this is that you needing to find ways to engage with the divine feminine, but in a very physical, practical way. We are being called to remember our magic. We are being called to go into earth energy, working with Gaia, literally working with Gaia. We are being called to start finding natural remedies for things. Just an example, my body really broke, and Kelso and I did a scan of my body, and every single one of my systems were down, including my digestive system, which has never gone down. That is like strong, like Russia used to be, right? Every one of them went down. I tried doctors to assist me in getting my body back on track, and I had very specific questions for them. I didn't want to just be pumped with chemicals and things like that. I didn't want my symptoms to be suppressed. I wanted to go to the core of it and heal my body, right? And I went in asking very medical questions about my body and what it needed. And none of them could come at me with an answer. None of them were prepared to do anything other than write me a script for HRT and all of that stuff. Okay. The lesson for me in that, and why I'm telling this story, is because I then sat down and I tuned into my body and I was like, we need to work together. I know that I've just purged like 154 years of abandonment trauma over 3 generations in 10 weeks. I get it. You're pissed. If I was my body, I'd also be pissed, right? But we need to work together. So how do we do that? And I started doing forgiveness rituals. I started doing Ho'oponopono to my body, forgiving it for all the times that I've abused it, let alone having to go through all of the healing abuse. I have maintained my ashwagandhas and things like that. This is about us tuning into our intuition and our magic, our inner knowing, our old wisdom, the ancient magic that we carry inside ourselves. This is the year for it. Not one of the 4 doctors that I saw in 2 weeks could help me. And all of them had been recommended. Every single one of them had been recommended, right? And it wasn't that I was going to try and get medications or alternative methods. I know the alternative methods. I'm working that. I had very specific questions around endocrine systems and around my nervous system, all of that stuff, and they couldn't answer it. They just wanted to give me medication. Okay, so I thought, stuff that, I'm not spending any more money on this. I'm tuning inwards and I'm going to find out what I need. And that's exactly what I did. And it's been about 4 weeks of doing that. And my body is finally kicking back into action, and the weight's starting to come off and everything's starting to go back into balance. My joints are healing, the pain is dissipating, everything is starting to kick in. Okay, that's the kind of magic I'm talking about. Our inner knowing that as divine feminines we intrinsically carry. I don't think that was, I think that was a Freudian slip, as in that we have carried with us. I think that's kind of the energy of the carriage. We've carried it with it for lifetimes. Okay, so that is that I would say to you is our main theme this year, the divine feminine stepping into their power, stepping into their role. And Pisces is that energy to support us with that in the North Node. We've come out of North Node in Aries, which is divine masculine energy, right? It's that strong, powerful energy. We've now gone into the soft flow of water energy, which is very feminine energy. It's very soft, gentle, will carry us where we need to go kind of energy. Okay. Big theme for this year, guys, seriously. Then I need to say to you, we all do this thing where we set words for the year. I'm up for that. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm not in any which way, shape, or form knocking that. But I want you guys who follow me and who work with me to go a bit deeper than that. I want you to tell me, what is your intention for your year? What is your intention as you've stepped into 2025? And it's not too late to start now. In fact, it's the perfect time. We've just shifted into the North Node of Pisces. So that's a very heavy overriding energy for us. So in light of that, what is your intention for this year? A word is one thing. It's one thing. What is your actual intention for this year? Is it to be more spiritual? Is your intention to develop specific skill sets? Is it just to heal? Is it just to surrender to the whole process and just have an absolute blast? What is your actual intention for 2025? That's a big one. Okay, because as we know, where our intention is where our energy goes. So the one thing that Kelso really wanted me to communicate to you guys is get clear on your intention for this year. All right. Our dreams and our goals, that's separate. That's completely different. But what is your actual core intention for this year? What are you wanting to achieve personally for this year? How do you see yourself creating this year? Okay. Really, really important energy. Okay. Now, a couple of things that he just wants to highlight. I've actually made notes because we actually really did have a team meeting, and sorry, that was from the sit-ups this morning. We really did have a team meeting, and there were a couple of things that he did really want me to talk to you about, and that I can't then just ignore. Okay. The first thing is we need to understand that as we know this, woundings create our triggers. Okay. We need to pay attention to those triggers this year because those triggers are going to show us what needs to leave our boat. It's that simple. It's genuinely that simple. If you ignore your triggers, they just get worse and worse, and then the lessons get harder, and it just becomes unpleasant, right? So Kelsey's saying, have a look at your triggers because those are going to tell you where you're needing to heal. Now, here's the thing. We always talk about free will, and we know how fabulous it can be, but we also know what a bitch it can be when we make the wrong choices. His sentence was very simple. Choice creates resistance. And what he means by that is we need to choose wisely. Again, reiterating that whole energy of where we place our energy this year. We need to choose wisely on how we are going to respond to stuff. Okay. What he means by that is, well, this is how it was explained to me. Things come into our space neutrally. Things just happen, right? Let's say, for example, you're trying to make payment and the bank goes down. Your online banking goes down. Now, it's technology, it happens, okay? But you are desperate because you need to get a payment through because you are trying to, I don't know, secure something that you're trying to purchase, or you need to get a parcel collected, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is. You need to make a payment to a doctor, whatever it is, right? He is really asking us to be very careful this year about how we act and how we respond to what comes into our life. And the reason he's saying that is because shit is neutral. He's like, stuff arrives in your lives and you guys all make these big dramas around it and it's so this, and he's like, and shit just sometimes happens, right? So Why he's bringing this up is because he's saying how we respond to what happens to us this year is going to be how we experience it. And that is a very important fact to take away from this. If you are going to respond negatively to situations that come into your space, you will have a negative experience. Okay. If you are going to respond positively to something, even if you find it challenging, especially if you find it challenging, you will have a better situation come out of that. Let's be clear. You will have a better situation come out of that. You will have responded to that a whole lot better. Okay. Now, I can say here, I can sit here and go, I started losing a lot of weight before I went on holiday in July, and I was looking so much better, and I was nearly in a size 16, and I'd lost 2 dress sizes, and and I've picked up all this weight, and I can sit here and bemoan it, and I can play victim. Okay. Or I can sit here and go, okay, right, so this is a bit of a fuck up, let's be honest. I've been on a diet since I was 2 years old. I'm exhausted mentally and emotionally with having to diet and worry about my weight. However, if I do it this time, I'm doing the healing without all of that trauma that I've purged in those 10 weeks in my body. I'm doing it a whole new kind of healing now. It's going to be a whole different ballgame. My body's going to heal in completely different ways. So do I sit there going, I've got to do this all over again, or do I just tackle it and do what I need to do? And the reason I'm just, that's a very basic example, because honestly, I'm still not 100% full up to energy capacity. So to try and come up with something really ingenious is just one step too far for me at the moment. So we're just going basic, simple, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? It's how we respond to what's happened. Okay. Like, I need to say to you guys need to get real comfortable with this shirt, because all of my clothes are smaller than me at this point in time. So I tag, this is it. Like, I have maybe 2 other shirts. So good luck with that, because I literally, until I've lost more weight, I cannot fit into my wardrobe of clothing. I got rid of the big clothes because I was like, I'm never going to go back there again, right? Fuckers. Okay. So all I'm going to say is, be careful how you respond to what happens in your life this year, because you will create the experience from that. That is that simple. And Kelso is adamant about this. Okay. Part of that is learning to deal with your perspective on things. Okay, now that is a tricky thing, because our perspective often comes from our programming. But if you're going to be doing the work this year and you're going to be tuning into that nice, deep, like raw earth energy that we carry within us, especially as women, especially as divine feminine, male or female, doesn't matter. We're going to be able to really see things from a different perspective this year. Again, Pisces and North Node is a big thing. It's going to help us with that, right? It's going to make the ride a little bit easier, a little bit less resistant, a little bit less tricky. But it still means that we have to work on the changing of our perspective. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen just, because we wanted to and we don't actually put the effort in. Actively choosing to see things as something that will further you along, or like if something doesn't work out, don't get hysterical about it. So, for example, if plans fail and you don't get to go and have lunch with a friend or whatever, maybe that day the restaurant had a bad batch of food and you would have had food poisoning, or maybe your friend was in a bad mood and you would have ended up having a fight. Whatever it is, always work in the essence of the universe is working in my favor. Working like that is going to get you a whole lot further than any other kind of attitude you're going to have, especially this year, because we are going to have endings, guys. I get it. We all still tied from 2024, because actually, what the fuck was that about, right? I actually said to Fernand, I don't even want to redo. Just give me my money back. I just want a refund for 2024, because that was just a whole different kettle of what the fuck. But here's the thing. We made it. We're out, right? We're out. We've survived. We're on the other side of it. Now, what do we do with the lessons that we've learned from 2024? Are we going to keep on sitting in spaces of resistance? Are we going to keep raging against the machine? Or are we going to just go, actually, you know what? If this is what is coming up into my space, I'm just going to deal with it as it is. Take it at face value, right? Read the 4 agreements. Take nothing personally. If you have not read the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, get the book and read the book. It's a game changer. Piss easy to read, a little bit more tricky to implement into your life. I'm just saying. Okay, so with all of this said and done, right, we are needing to really see things from a different perspective, because when we change our perspective on things, we are able then to face our lessons head on. We actually get to see our lessons with clarity because we're not sitting in a space of resistance. We're actually open to going, okay, hold on, maybe this is a lesson for me. Maybe I need to see how I react to certain things. And then we go back to the trigger thing. Oh, this is a trigger because of this. Oh, I need to heal that because I don't like feeling like that. Okay, it's all interconnected this year, guys. This is not information you don't know, but these are the highlights that Kelso is saying that we need to pay attention to this year. Okay, now remember when I spoke to you about people saying things and not doing things? Let's talk about loyalty for a second. One of the things that I came out of last year's healing with was real clarity on my loyalty and where I was placing it. Okay, there were a lot of people that were getting a lot of loyalty that didn't deserve it at all. Okay, that ended. Turns out I thought I was fucking Specsavers, didn't I? There I was handing out my loyalty with a pair of rose-tinted glasses to all and sundry. Yeah, that deal also came to an end. We need to start taking rose-tinted glasses out of situations. If people show you who they are, believe them. They know themselves better than you do. So no more with the rose-tinted glasses this year. If people continuously behave badly around you, that is who they are. And then you get to decide, is this really what I deserve? Is this what I need in my space? If this boat goes down, or if my boat around the shark is going to go down, is this really what I want to be the thing that brings me down? Right? Wouldn't you rather have champagne and something else taking you down, before you get chowed by the shark, than somebody in their drama? Okay, you understand the analogy. I mean, it was a joke. But it's important for you to be looking at where you place your loyalty, not just with people, situations, jobs, you name it, across the board. Where are you placing your loyalty with yourself? Because that's the most important thing. Your relationship with yourself is the longest one you have, people. We need to make it a good one, right? So where are you placing your loyalty with yourself? If you're giving everyone else free reign with your loyalty, are you doing the same thing with you? Or are you letting yourself down? Are you self-sabotaging? Okay, important that you look at this. Okay, really, really important that you start looking at where we place it. Okay, also just make sure that you are not placing your loyalty based on the length of something. Time is not, let's quantify it as quantity. Quantity does not deserve loyalty. Quality does. Be very clear about the differences of the two of them. Don't be going at this with, we've been friends for 30 years. I held on to a lot of friendships because they were over the 10-year mark. Damn, I should have ditched that shit years ago. Really and truly. And I didn't. I held on because I was like, we've been friends for like 30 years. We've been friends for like 18 years. So what? Time is not a good qualifier for loyalty. Quality is. Quality is really important. So we go back to the rose-tinted glasses, people. No longer be Specsavers. You're not Specsavers. Don't do it. You're not do it. It's not worth it for you. Okay. And if at any point in time you are doubting a decision that you need to make around somebody or something, it's a stupid analogy. I'll own it that it's a stupid analogy. But go back to the boat with the shark. If that boat is sinking because there is too much stuff on it, is this something you want to go down with? It's that simple. It genuinely is that simple. Okay. Right. As it stands right now, okay, the divine feminine is going through a massive collective purge. I know this is a bit choppy, I'm sorry, but there's been a lot of information and I don't want to make this an hour-long video because I really would like to do a video in the next couple of days on the vagus nerve, because we need to start being serious about our vagus nerves and taking care of that and learning to reset that. Okay, so I don't want to do like an hour-long video for everyone and then everyone's like bored. But what I do want to say around this is that if you are feeling extreme exhaustion at the moment, like really, like I have taken to napping like every day. I have a new hobby. I never used to sleep during the day unless I was sick. Now if I can, I'll plan clients around my nap. Like if I've got a gap, I'll take that gap and I'll sleep. I mean, Christmas morning was ridiculous. 10:30, I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to just recalibrate. And by 10:30, I was back in bed, having woken up at 6 o'clock. 10:30, I was back in bed, and I only woke up at 1:30. And then I was asleep by 9 o'clock that night. I am exhausted. As a collective, the divine feminine is exhausted. okay? We are purging a massive amount of trauma, and a lot of it does have to do with abandonment, okay? A lot of it does have to do with our worth, self-sabotage. A lot of it does have to do with value and how we see ourselves, and it makes perfect sense. We came out of an 8-year, and at the beginning of last year I said to you, the 8-year is not just about abundance, it's about worth. How do we see ourselves? How do we value ourselves? What do we feel about our worth? The divine collective, the divine feminine collective, is busy purging that at the moment, and it's exhausting. So be kind to yourself. Exercise when you can, ground when you can, drink as much water as you can, and sleep. For the love of God, at this point in time, sleep as much as you can. Your body is really neat. You can check. Look, I got bags under my eyes that are starting to match my shoes, right? And I'm sleeping. Let me be clear, I'm sleeping. But the energy is intense. It's extreme exhaustion. Okay. All the planetary fuckery that's happening as well. This one's aligning with this one, and they're all lining up for the perfect goal up in the sky at the moment, and all of that. It all takes its toll. But at our core, the divine feminine are purging the self-worth. Because why? We can't go into a year where we are trying to connect in with our magic and all of the things that make us fabulously, mystically feminine if we're coming in with imposter syndrome. It's that simple. So if you're going to sit there and going, yeah, but why would I have that gift? Why would it be me? It's just me, a little old me. Well, if you're coming in with that, that means you haven't dealt with your self-worth. And that is what this purging is about. It's helping us get rid of all of that energy so that we can connect in with our true, authentic, magical selves. Okay. Last but not least, this year is truly about setting our intentions and setting us up for next year. I've said it to you last year, and I'll say it to you again this year. This year is the volleyball player that sets the ball up at the net so the other guy can shoot it over. That is this. The year is the ball going up. Next year, the ball goes over the net. Okay? So we have to be serious about this year. We have to take this seriously. We have to put in the hours and do the work that we need to do, but we also have to balance that with a lot of self-care and a lot of self-love. Right? Because if we're not balancing that out, we're not going to achieve what we need to achieve. It's just not going to happen. It can't happen. We have to self-love really hard this year. No excuses. You cannot pour from empty cups, right? And everybody has taught us that taking care of ourselves is selfish. I'll be selfish. I'll be selfish. Because I need to be okay. In order for us to shine our lights in the way that we are being required to this year, I'll be selfish. I'll take it. All right? And I'll do it unapologetically. Like, seriously. I'm not playing around this year. Not after last year. I'm not going through that shit again, ever, again. That's a hard no. I mean, that's such a hard no. I feel like I need a safe word, but that's beside the point. Like, you have to make sure that you are doing what it takes and that you are not sweating the small stuff this year. Okay, it's a big picture year with Pisces and the North Node in Pisces. This year gives us 12 months of the North Node, right? In Pisces, that's 2/3 of that time. It's big picture stuff. It is big picture stuff, and that then allows us to go into the last 6 months of the Pisces and the North Node in Pisces in the new cycle, setting us up for the next 9-year cycle. Okay, you have to see how all of this starts relating. Nothing is coincidental. The universe doesn't work in coincidences, guys. It works in synchronicities. Okay? So, my intention for myself this year is I'm rewilding myself. I'm going to go batshit crazy this year. The hair, curly, all over the place. Don't give a fuck. Can't be asked. 0 fucks given. Seriously. I am not going to conform to societal standards around anything anymore. Okay? I'm just not. I'm going to dive deep. I'm going to find my magic. I know that it's there, but I mean, like, really engage with it and bring it into everyday life. I really am. So my intention this year is that I rewild myself. I undo the programming that society has brought into my space and that has damaged my imagination, my creativity, my freedom, okay, my authenticity. I'm done with it. I want to go into next year so ready for whatever the future holds for me and whatever dreams I have for the next however many years. So guys, if you can, let me know what your intentions are. Drop it in the comments below. What are your intentions for this year? What is your intention? Mine is to rewild myself, whatever that takes, whatever that means. A big part of that is getting my body back on track and being healthy so that I can spend more time in nature, going for walks and all sorts of things, right? Because at this point I get tired running a bath, which is not an ideal situation at all. Okay, guys, so I hope that this helps you. I am sending you so much love. Okay, we do have new tenants on the property. Which will that's a whole different kettle of fish and a whole different story for another day. But we do have new children on the property that are a little bit loud and runny. So I will get the video out as soon as I can, noise permitting. But I'm sending you so much love, so much love. We've got a new moon coming up in the next couple of days. There will be a new moon reading going out for that as well, to see where we're at with that. But in the meantime, just process what I've said. Take into account that we have to go back to our magic this year. So maybe try and align your intention with how you're going to do that. How are you going to connect in with your magic this year? Okay. Love you all madly. I am so excited for this year. I think that it's going to be a slightly calmer year. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be easier, but I think it will be slightly calmer than last year. And I'm looking forward to whatever journeys we take together this year. So I am sending you so much love, and I'll catch you soon. Big loves, guys.